Hello and welcome to the New Gig podcast. I'm your host, Glen Hodgson, and today I am joined by entrepreneur, investor, and CEO of Yepstr, Mr. Jacob Rudbäck.
Thank you, Glenn. It's great to be here. Really look forward to joining you on this.
Absolutely fantastic. Pleasure to have you here. So let's dive straight in. And basically, for people who don't know, give a little bit of a background on yourself and also Yepstr and the work and the services that you provide.
Yeah, absolutely. So, entrepreneurship has been something I think in my blood for a very long time. Didn't get a lot of money from my parents, so I had to work hard and mow lawns and paint fences and that sort of thing to earn my first few dollars. But I think that also triggered something in me. The feeling that work and earning money and that whole thing was a lot of fun. Fast forward a couple of years. I took one piece of advice from my father, which was, don't do like me, don't do like your mom, don't try and start a business straight after the school, but work hard with the smartest people you can find, put some money under your pillow, and then you can start something. So I did that. So actually, not until I was 30 did I leave my job and pursue this journey that is Yepstr. So, do you want me to briefly mention what Yepstr is, maybe?
Yeah, just say a few words. Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. So Yepstr is here to help 100 million young people to their first jobs before 2030. And we're making good headway there. We are Sweden's biggest mediator of jobs for young people. So I'm talking specifically about jobs like babysitting, tutoring, dog minding, gardening,
Right.
the typical teenage jobs. So in essence, we're a platform, we're an app where young people between 15 and 24 can find their first jobs, level up, build a CV, build a resume, and build all the confidence that comes with it.
Absolutely. Oh, well, that's fantastic. A great service and a great platform as well. And I mean, using your years of experience as well, and also the facilities operated by the platform. I mean, what is kind of the advice you would give to sort of young people starting out in their careers, their labor market? A few words of wisdom.
That's a good question. Look, I've held lots and lots of talks on this, but there are many different things that can be said. I think the key one, though, is preparedness for opportunity, if I was to sum it all up. And to me, that means that I think deep down inside, each young person out there has a sense, of what they enjoy and what they're good at. So, when you combine those two, good things generally happen. So let's say you are a creative type and you're interested in, design, or, you love working with people. So you're a team player, well, then maybe somewhere down the line, you want to work in that space. And to do that and to achieve that, then it's worthwhile to work backwards from that and say, okay, well, one day, one idea or something, job opportunity might pop up, which is spot on exactly within my field. What can I do to be prepared when that happens? Like, how can I capture that opportunity?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Yepstr was for me. I knew that I wanted to get into entrepreneurship one day. I love tech, and I think that sort of thing is interesting. So I made sure that I got experiences, for example, within business studies, learning that thing, learned how to manage a team. I was a sailing coach, for example. So I trained kids when I was really young, so got some leadership experience. So once you have the puzzles in place, when that idea or whatever it is, job opportunity arrives, then you're prepared and ready, and you can just run for it.
And I think that's great advice that you're bringing in. It's it's not a case of leapfrogging all the stages and coming up with a big bang idea. It's building up your knowledge, your skills, and in some cases maybe finding out what you don't like. But going through that process probably is as useful.
Exactly. No, that's the second thing I'd add is like, look, life is a chain of serendipitous events.
Yeah.
So if you just position yourself in front of your laptop playing video games every day, there's a very slim chance you will get exposed to that much, fortune or that much serendipity.
Right.
But if you get out there, if you paint fences, work at McDonald's, whatever it is, like if you start capturing those opportunities, not only will you build some self-esteem and grow up, become an adult, but you'll also be in positions where something serendipitous may happen. Just like what happened to me when I was mowing lawns, and this older guy leaned across, who later became my mentor and is now one of our angel investors. So those things happen. You just need to get out there.
And I think that's a great point. It's amazing that the harder you work, the luckier you get, if you put it in that kind of way. Just by doing stuff and putting yourself in the way and making those contacts and seeing the opportunities for what they are as well. I think that's a really important and valuable lesson, because nothing lands on your plate. You've got to go out there and hunt for it, and it maybe turns up in the strangest places, but it's there if you look for it.
Exactly right. And that applies whether it's sports or business or anything in life.
Absolutely. And I think the important thing that in terms of your background as well, Jacob, is how you sort of created this, but you've got the sort of the strong business sense, the business case, and doing all the bits right, the some of the kind of boring stuff about sort of running the business, but knowing how to do that part as well. It's not just a creative idea. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears behind the great idea as well. And the ratios between inspiration and perspiration is probably a big part of this too.
No, that's for sure. I just happen to be one of those who love extreme amounts of pain.
Well, you're in the right place and doing a very good work on here, given the fact that there are a huge number of challenges facing the platform economy here in Sweden, but also in Europe and further afield. And from your perspective, what are the biggest challenges at the moment to this thing that we call the platform economy, gig economy, project economy, for it to be able to take a hold and grow?
Yeah, so this is a really important question, because the advent of short-term jobs or quick jobs and so on, this is nothing new. And we are still, I'd say that the biggest issue, we are still stuck in that two strong political groups. One who sees this every short-term job, every flexible job as something the devil has created, like this is the root of all evil, and this will destroy and extract money from all the poorest people in the world and make working conditions worse and so on. And then we have the other side of the equation, which is just all roses, and there is not a cloud in the sky. There is no problems. Let's just let these Ubers and platforms take over the world. And I'm disappointed in our politicians, and I'm disappointed in the European Union that we haven't gotten further, because obviously it's both. Yes, this is a fantastic opportunity. And if we just look at Yepstr, for example, with a platform where young people can find jobs across the street in a safe, simple, and trustworthy way, well, that makes it, that not only gives them benefits in terms of their first jobs, self-esteem, and all this, it also helps our elderly. It ties communities together.
Yes.
There's something meaningful about when we help each other, work for each other. Then you see things that are like, wow, you're really driven, or you're very good socially, or you take care of kids in a great way. You should speak with this person. Just speaking with your neighbor across the fence doesn't do that much, but once you work for each other or help each other out, something magical happens. So only Yepstr, like if we only look at Yepstr, that's a silver bullet for youth unemployment long term. It's activating young people, it's self-esteem, but it's also offloading stressed parents. It's also helping parents with young children, elderly, etc., etc. So there's a massive societal benefit if we help people help each other. So we just need to move past that and and get into the next phase, the more mature phase, which is like just as we did with the internet. Okay, the internet is fantastic, but there are some bad parts about it. So let's start to address those.
And I think it's address it. I mean, Chairman Mao used to say that when you open the window, you let in fresh air, but you also let in flies. And I think that's one of the things as well. But let's focus on the fresh air and not the flies in terms of this case as well, and see the opportunities. And I think harness the potential as opposed to trying to block it and shut it down as something negative, something bad, and something that should be resisted. And if you look in the media,
exactly right.
Yeah,
I think that's the main thing. Like if you are to get anywhere with this sort of thing, it's first important that all politicians are aware of the benefits. I still don't think many of them know. Like we have our prime minister in Sweden who has never bought anything online. So does he even understand the value of the internet? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So that's step one, like, see the benefits of it. And to do that, we should be able to require that our leaders try these platforms, try Airbnb, Uber, Foodora, Yepstr, whatever it is, and see like, oh, okay, I understand the benefits. Because first, when that's happened, can we start to say, okay, now let's address the problems. If we have a group of people or our leaders in the country who don't even see the value of it, then we're in a tricky spot.
And I think so too. And of course, you have the role as a societal campaigner who's taking this fight and the education and actually sort of holding up a mirror to some of the issues that we've got today, particularly in a Swedish context. And that, I think that's very much appreciated, and also something that's very much needed at the moment. And particularly if we look into some of the headlines on the TV and the media, the mainstream, it's a very dark picture that's being painted at the moment, and shall we say quite different from the reality and the benefits that are being created here.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I mean, just a couple of years in our history, we were attacked by a left-wing radicalist group. They had tried to attack Uber and so on, but Uber was too big and didn't care. So then they went after us. And the sad thing there is, the battle was portrayed as, this small group up against this massive company, but the complete opposite is true. We were then a group of just 5 or 6 passionate people who wanted to make the world better and help young people to jobs in a fair, safe, trustworthy way. And they portrayed us as trying to charge kids for work. It was outrageous. We will never charge young people anything. We're their advocates. Yepstr stands for young entrepreneurs. Yep. So the sentiment is definitely changing, but that happens, I think, as the pendulum swings. I think I'm positive, and I believe that the general public sees the values, and they also now see some of the problems that can occur. And so the general public is depending on the leaders to say, okay, this is the game plan. This is how we will make it work and make it into something really beneficial for our society.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing as time moves on, sort of the platform economy sort of moving into being a part of the regular economy. Will we see the sort of the blurring of these lines that have been created today?
I think so. The odd thing is right now it feels like we're more divided than ever.
Yeah.
Because when Yepstr started, one of the closest political persons I was speaking with was actually left wing.
Okay.
And he saw this as an opportunity for the young people, the groups who were not that wealthy, to finally get some help, single mothers, young migrants to get their first job. So he was very positive. And I was also invited to speak at the environmental party, Miljöpartiet.
Yeah.
And they saw this as a huge opportunity that, with local help, all of a sudden, if neighbors can help each other, you don't need big trucks coming in or, companies organized. So you see an environmental benefit there. But then, somewhere along the last 5 years, the line has been drawn, and it's like right wing, all pro, and left wing, all against. And unfortunately, that opportunity perspective has been drawn out a bit. But I remain positive, and I think Sweden has a great chance to be one of the first countries to get there.
And I think that you get onto a very good point there, that Sweden getting this right should be hopefully a very important role model and a blueprint for the rest of the European countries, particularly, to be able to follow that and be able to sort of use this as a model, how we harness the platform economy and technology, and actually sort of, as you've said before, the levels of youth unemployment, the difficulty in getting migrants into the local workforce. This should be part of the solution as opposed to part of the problem. And I think sort of, just looking at the same thing from a different perspective should hopefully unlock a bit of this.
Yeah, look, that's exactly how I see it. The platform economy is here to stay. You cannot dispute or argue that, and whether it takes 10 or 100 years, that's up to the politicians really, but it is here to stay because it does a better job. With the old businesses employing staff, interviewing, which is just a guessing game. Interviews are bullshit, honestly. Trying then to organize manually and say, okay, Glen, you go to work here for this amount of time, and it's super ineffective. And with a platform which much smarter can match and say, okay, well, here's an opportunity for you, Glen. Do you want it? Don't you? Etc. That liquidity, that flexibility is something we really lack in today's society. I'm not saying this will ever replace the traditional working labor market. There is still a majority of jobs, that are full-time jobs, and there is a need for that stability. But there are times in a person's life when you're young and you don't have any work experience, if you lose your job, or you don't have a job where it's really good just to keep you active, or if you want 100% job, but you only get a 50% part-time job, and you want to add some jobs on top just to network, get out there, remain active, earn some money. So this is like the oil for the machinery. And by having a solid, sound platform economy, the traditional labor market will work so much better, and ultimately all people will earn from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's facilitating that, and it's the politicians, the regulators and decision makers who need to make sure that the right framework is in place as well. And I think we've seen recently, we've got the Eva Nordmark is looking here in Sweden at the new rules on work environment, the Arbetsmiljö question here. How do you see that going, and what are your sort of proposals for how this should look?
Yeah, so I've met Eva Nordmark a couple of times through different events, and in the start when I met her, I was worried because she took a stance which I have seen before, which is the why should you be treated differently? Everybody else has to employ their staff, why shouldn't you have to? Which just I don't think Eva really believed that. Maybe I just think she hadn't really gotten her stuck into the issue, because it is complex. And now when I was in an interview with her just 2 weeks ago or something in P1, I think it sounded like she had started to understand a lot more the complexity at hand.
Right.
So all of our leaders, they are just humans, and I think when Eva started an office, she had the huge burden of sorting out Arbetsförmedlingen, the labor.
Good luck with the Swedish labor office. My goodness, that can keep you busy for several lifetimes.
It can for sure, and you know, the cost of it is 3 times the Swedish police force, and it's been going from a majority of Swedish jobs mediated through it down to now, you know, they claim 11%, but other studies say 4%. You know, it's a massive beast of a of an agency.
Yeah.
So she said, look, honestly, Jacob, that's pretty much all I can do at the moment. That's what occupies my mind. And I think now, fortunately, Eva is really on the ball and has spoken with unions as well as platforms, and is realizing that there is something very difficult here. This is new. Because people are, you know, agreeing directly with each other instead of going to the company and then making an agreement with the company and then the company going to the employee. You know, people are agreeing directly. So I remain positive, and I think there is a good chance we might see some positive events come out of this, which will help us come out of the COVID crisis.
Yeah, and I think that's crucial as we come out of this crisis, as you say, to have the right approach, to the right framework, so we can actually sort of ramp back up again the people who have been either coming into the workforce, who have been displaced because they've lost their jobs during the crisis. They can get back in and have the possibilities to get back in as well. So hopefully the platform economy is seen as another route, another opportunity, as opposed to something that is going to be blocked and is not going to be something that is positive for the world of work and society more generally.
Yeah, I agree. And look, there are many different ideas on how to solve this, but I think a giant first step is very easy, and that's allowing people to do this type of work for a fixed amount across a year. Because then you are saying that, no, this is not a substitute for full-term employment and all of that. But we see the opportunities of it as a complement. So we can start there. You know, yes, you can earn 50,000 per year from these, not from these platforms, but from doing jobs for other private individuals.
Okay.
You know, and whether you do it in your own basement, or whether you do it with a Klarna app, or whether you do it through TipTap or Yepstr or whatever, it should not matter. The crux is that you are working for another private individual. I think that would be a phenomenal first step. It would free up and essentially ignite that entrepreneurial flame, I think, in everybody. Just like when I was mowing lawns, I did it untaxed, no pension, you know, no nothing, didn't know what I should charge. It would have been great for me to have a platform to help guide that, so I could have gotten more fair terms, so to say, and an insurance that would have been great.
And insurance as well, but you got the experience, and of course this is what we build our knowledge on, is experience, and actually put this to good use. And when you bring it into sort of a company as well, that's a great step that we're moving forward as well. I mean, just to sort of finish off on the itself now, what are kind of the, you know, if we had to sort of finish with 3 things that we should be doing in the next 12 months here in Sweden, but also at the European level, what are the sort of the 3 key priorities that we should be looking at?
So I think I've spoken a bit with some groups in the EU, and I think the key strategy, or the big game changer there, would be the one that I just mentioned, that to put in place a law or a rule, or I don't know what you would call it, but the ability for any private individual to take jobs for other private individuals up to a certain threshold level, be it 5,000 euros or 10,000 euros or whatever per year. That would really get the bulk of the benefit from the platform economy, and then it cannot be argued that it would be a replacement for the traditional labor market. So I think that is a key one. A second one that I would like to see is, I don't understand why it's still so hard for people who want to earn their own money. Like, why are we working against that? Why are we making the only channel to earn a salary, to go to an employer with your, hat in your hand, or kindly asking, may I work for you?
Yeah.
So I would like to see instead, I think it is Estonia that's implemented it already, but that any private individual can go to their bank and say, I want to work, freelance. I want to work in my own capacity.
Yeah.
And the bank then sets up an account for you, so that automatically all the money that goes into that account is automatically taxed in the correct way.
Yeah.
And so the money that remains is then money you can spend. I think that would be a fantastic step for our young people, but also for anybody who wanted to do something, whether you're a senior and you want to help out with gardens in your area, or you love baking or whatever. We have payment solutions available now that are electronic, which makes this possible. Previously we had cash, and then it was impossible. Now we have, Sweden is one of the countries that are most developed in terms of electronic payments, so we have a huge opportunity. So yeah, I think that would be number 2. Number 3 is, we need a more mature way to look at labor environment or working environment. There are 3 components to work environment, really. The first one is administrative. So it's ensuring that insurances are in place, that salaries are paid, that pensions are paid, that vacation, all of that administrative stuff. Then there is the physical working environment. Somebody there saying, this is dangerous, watch out here. And then there's the systematic work. And platforms, we can assist with the first and the last, so the administrative and the systematic, but we cannot assist with the physical. We cannot be there physically. And we just need to be more mature and not just put all of the employer responsibilities on one pair of shoulders, but say, okay, to make the platform economy work, we need to divide this. And there's 3 parties involved: the platform, the buyer, and the seller. Let's split it in a fair way. Yeah,
as opposed to you having to go to Luleå and Piteå to inspect gardens and lawns and that kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good approach. And, I must thank you for your time and also for your insights here. Really useful, Jacob, and keep fighting the good fight as a social and societal campaigner as well as a media profile and a CEO. So you've got a lot of hats, and keep doing what you're doing. It's a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you, Glenn. Great to see you again. Thanks for a good show.
Bye.
Bye.